So, sales confidence. I'm assuming that everybody here is an online coach, and I think the majority of you are fitness coaches. So, this will apply to all online coaches, to be honest. We kind of look more to help wellness coaches more, but it looks like that you're all fitness coaches. So, we're going to use that as an example. So, online fitness coaches and how we can actually sell high ticket over document, so by chat, over the phone, over Zoom call, lots of different methods. We're going to go over the use cases, why some scenarios would suit one method over another. So then we're going to go behind some of the fundamentals and the principles behind those methods, why you would use one over another, or why what you're selling matters, who your target market is, things like that. So sales confidence, hopefully you should come away from this feeling pretty confident about selling your programs. Just as a bit of a thank you for actually jumping on this webinar, if you would like a free 30-minute strategy session, just grab your phone, take a picture of that or scan your camera over this and it will take you through to my booking system. It's not a pitch or anything like that, but if you'd like to go through your business in a little bit more detail, it doesn't have to be about sales. It can be about marketing or how you nurture or your actual delivery. Just pin that, you can book in a call with me and we can have a chat one-to-one for 30 minutes. So I'll leave that on for about 5 more seconds. This will come up on the end as well. So why are you here? I know that I asked you this at the start, but I want you to come up with one reason in your head now. And that strong reason, ask yourself right now, you don't have to tell me. Ask yourself, why am I here? Why have I woken up early on a Sunday morning and jumped online to watch this webinar? What do I want to take home from this? What do I want this webinar to give me? Okay. Biggest one is obviously sales confidence. We want to feel confident when we're actually making a sale. We want to know how to charge our worth, and we want to feel confident when we're actually charging that much, and we want to convert those sales as well. Okay. I'm assuming quite a lot of you, if you are within the coaching industry at the moment and you are attracting new leads, you're getting them onto sales calls, you probably have a lot of people coming through and then essentially not buying. Okay. So we have low self-confidence because we have a low kind of conviction rate. So you're probably in one of 3 places at the moment. You either have very little leads or no leads at all. So sales are high pressure. Okay, whenever you do get a lead or whenever you do get someone starting a conversation or filling in your application form, it's, oh my God, panic. It's exciting, but it's also panic because we're relying on making this sale. And that turns sales pressurized. Okay, and it's not a very nice experience. Or you've got leads and you've got people coming through the door, you're jumping on sales calls with people, but you have low conversion. So not many people are actually joining your program and they have different objections. It's either too expensive, it's not good enough, maybe it's not the right time, maybe they need to ask somebody, maybe they've got bills on the horizon or whatever it is. Okay, so you've got leads coming through the door, people are interested, but they're just not buying from you. Okay. Or you're possibly in the third place, which is lots of leads, but not enough time. Okay. So this is it's a nice problem to have, but it is a problem after all. I'm not sure if anybody on this webinar, just from the look of it, is in at this point at the moment. We've got a few people who came into our program at this point where they've got quite big followings. They've built a lot of trust to that following. They've got a lot of leads, a lot of people filling in their application form, a lot of people booking calls with them. But because those people aren't very well pre-qualified, they're jumping on calls and they're wasting their time a lot of the time. Okay, because they're just getting people on who are essentially fans. Okay, and they're wasting a lot of time on these calls. What we're going to go through today in this webinar is a solution for all 3 of these things. So the key takeaways. Number 1, understand the key fundamentals underlying sales success. Number 2, analyze different methods of selling coaching programs, which is why I'm assuming you're all here. Understand each method's appropriate use case. And number 4, delve deeper into 3 proven sales mechanisms we use every day to sell programs for thousands of pounds. So we sell for thousands, not for hundreds. And I'm going to show you what our coaches use today. So who am I? My name is Dan, for those that did not know. I've been in the industry for 18 years now, I think. But might be slightly over now. I've built 4 multi-6-figure coaching businesses in person and online. And now I live and work from Bali, where I am at the moment. This isn't a flex, it's just to give you some kind of concept. But I make about 20k a month at the moment just from my laptop. And that's with £1,000 going into the business, 20k coming back out. And I want to help you be able to do the same. Now, it might not be hit 20K. Okay, you might not want to get that far. And it might be a little bit harder for you to hit that anyway, because I'm selling a program which is a little bit more expensive than the program that you'll be selling. But what I want you to think about is how much do you need to be able to make to take you to that? So what we went over right at the start, all of those things that you want, okay, that kind of idea. So we went over what you want from your coaching business. What do you want your coaching business to allow you to have? A lot of you came up with things that related to freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, leave your job, come away from one industry and enter into this industry. How much money do you need to make per month to get you to that point? And I want you to write this down. You don't have to tell me, but with your piece of paper that's in front of you, actually write it down. Okay, have a bit of a think and think, okay, I need this number. If I can hit this number, I can then go for this full time. So it's 5 seconds. Most of the time, with the majority of the coaches that I speak to, this number is somewhere around £5,000. Okay, so 5,000 British pounds sterling, and you can usually go full-time online, okay, and have a pretty nice living. For some of you, it may be a little bit more. It may be, depending on the kind of life that you want, it might be 10. Okay. And a lot of people are put off when they hear numbers like 10K, 15K, 20K, because it sounds like such an outlandish number to a lot of us. It depends how you were kind of brought up, what kind of family you were brought up within, what were your opportunities when you were a kid. But we all have these limiting beliefs. And I did for years and years and years. And I thought for a very long time that 5K would be the max that coaches would possibly make. And you could kind of hit the ceiling. And that really, all you'd have to chase past that would be impact upon those that you served and your reputation within the industry. Okay, but how wrong I was. So our coaches charge thousands, not hundreds. That's how we can hit those numbers. We want leads every day and sales every week, and our coaches make this. Okay? So going back to sales is a skill. So we're going to start getting into the kind of the meat and potatoes of it now. So sales is a skill, and we need to practice that skill. But you've probably heard the phrase everybody's heard the phrase practice makes perfect. It doesn't. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you are practicing bad practice, bad habits, okay, you're not going to get better at sales. Okay, we need to know that what we are practicing, experience is everything, but we need to make sure that we're having experience in the things that work. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over today. There are 4 principles that we want to try and cover here. So 4 things you need to know. The first one is your market emotion. You need to know, sorry, it's just someone's entering a little bit late. You need to know what are the emotions. First, you need to know your market, but you also need to know what are the emotions which are driving your market. Okay. This takes a little bit of brainstorming, and a great way to do this is to actually get a piece of paper and a pen and just sit and spend time. Put yourself in the shoes of your target market, your ideal client avatar, and write it down. Your outcome offer. And this is a biggie, okay? You don't need to know your offer, okay? You need to think deeper than that. You need to know your outcome offer. What we are trying to do is sell the destination, not the journey. The vast majority of you at the moment, I guarantee, will be trying to sell the journey, okay? And we're going to go into that in a moment. This is one of the very key principles in sales. If you nail this, you'll see your conversion rate shoot up. So we've got another little bit of an exercise just here. Please help me with this. What I want you to do in the middle is write down who. Who is your target market? Okay, just quick fire. Write down for me just for a few seconds. Who are they? Are they male or are they female? How old are they? What kind of job do they have? How do they spend their time? Do they have family? Are they in relationships? How do they spend their time at the weekends in their downtime? What do they prioritize? What do they want in the future? Okay, everything that you can think of, write it down. You need to understand who your market is first before you are able to sell to them. Just a couple more seconds. So blast this down in the middle. So who and your target market. Now what I want you to do is on this left side, just here, like what we did at the beginning of this webinar, I want you to write down where that person is at the moment. Okay, if they're not where they want to be at the moment, where are they? What do they think? What do they feel? Okay, and a lot of those answers might be the same as what you came up for, how you feel at the moment. So they could feel confused. They could feel like there's a lack of know-how. They could feel a bit lost, no direction. They could be frustrated, stuck in a hole, or like there's no getting out. Potentially hopeless. So just a couple more seconds, blast down everything that your current client will be feeling current prospect will be feeling right now. And I've just blasted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ideas in a matter of seconds. So you should be able to do a pretty good list here. Okay, now on this right-hand side, what I want you to do is write down where your perfect client avatar wants to be. Okay, what is their ideal outcome? So basing on our outcome offer, what do they want? Okay, try and think a level deeper. So as you're all fitness coaches, you're probably going to write down things like more muscle, less fat, fitter, stronger, things like that. But why do we want those things? Okay, maybe it's self-esteem, confidence. Please excuse my horrible handwriting. Self-esteem, confidence. Maybe it's they want to look good naked. Because of that, they might have, or they think they're going to have, a better relationship. Okay, try and think deeper than just they want to build muscle. They want to lose body fat. They want to be fitter. Maybe if they do want to be fitter, if that's one of their top priorities, why is it that they want to be fitter? Maybe they want to feel more capable. Okay, maybe they want to perform better at work. So trying to think a level deeper. So now you should have these 3 things. So in the middle, you've got who your target market is. On the left-hand side, and it helps if you're using different colored pens and things as well, where they currently are and how they feel about that. And on the right-hand side, where they want to be and why. Okay. What we want to try and do, and this is how we can actually increase the amount that we charge, is spread that gap. Okay. So spread the gap between where your prospect is at the moment and where they want to be. And the bigger that we can make that gap, the more you can charge, essentially. Essentially, it's the problem. How big is that problem? And the bigger the problem or the bigger the pain attached to that problem, the more you can charge to remove it. And your program, or you as a coach, is essentially going to be that bridge. So this is going back to the start, what I wanted you to remember. This is you now. Okay, you and your program, your signature method, is the bridge. Okay, you've just stretched the gap, and now you're going to bridge it with your service. Okay, that's how we can charge thousands rather than hundreds and charge for it confidently. So what I want you to think about now is yay without the boo, even if. And this is how you're going to sell your program now. So if we go back to this, what I want you to write now in the middle. So we've just spread the gap. And now our yay without boo, even if, goes here. Now this is now our program and this is how we sell. The vast majority of you are selling like this. And I see this all the time on Instagram and on Facebook where you're saying, I'm now taking on clients. You get a bespoke training program, personalized nutrition program. Most people change the word at the start of this to try and make it stand out from other coaches. Little secret, it doesn't work. Weekly check-ins, access to my app, access to my community. And it hits nobody. Because what you're trying to do here is you're selling with features rather than selling with benefits or emotion. Okay. So we sell with emotion and we justify with features. So this comes after. What we need to do first is grab attention. And we do that with yay, without the boo, even if. Okay. So what does the person want to achieve? That's the yay. Okay. Without boo. So think of some kind of barrier or something which has stood in the way of your client avatar in the past. Okay. So it could be, let's say for middle-aged professionals, they probably have a lack of time. So yay could be rebuild the body of your 20s, okay, without spending hours in the gym or without sacrificing your social life. Okay, what has been a barrier to their progress in the past? So yay, what they'd like to achieve without barrier, even if, and this is where you pop down one or two things that they've tried before. Okay, even if you've tried every fad diet under the sun, or even if you've hired coaches in the past who have failed you. Okay. What we're trying to do here is build trust. When you can articulate your clients' wants, their problems, their needs, what they failed with in the past, their barriers, better than what they can, we build trust. Okay, the trust is what we need to sell. Okay, so yay without the boo, even if. We've just built our bridge on our program. Okay, so come away from this. Please, please, please do not want to see anybody trying to sell with this anymore. Try and sell with this. Okay, you can justify with this later down the line. So your signature program, this is principle number 2. Okay. How many of you have seen this before? Okay. This is your triangle model, and it's a little bit of a riff of your genius model. Some of you have probably seen a genius model before. There's going to be one that's coming up in a moment, 3 kind of circles. This is a great way to unpack your signature program. Yeah, and you can use this within whatever sales technique or strategy that you want to go with, whether that's sell by document, sell by chat, sell by call, sell by Zoom. Okay, what we have in the middle is the aspiration. Okay, the name of your program, just a little kind of quick fire tip, the name of your program should match the aspiration of your target market. Okay, around the outside of this triangle, you can try and build your own right now if you like. Around this triangle, you want your 3 barriers. So let's take our middle-aged professional again. It's probably lack of knowledge or lack of know-how, potentially lack of time, because they've probably got high-powered job, probably coming home to a young family. Last one, lack of motivation, maybe. Okay, because they've got that high-powered job, probably come home, they're knackered, they've just put the kids to bed, they've got 1,000,001 things to do at home, but they've got to find time to go to the gym and they just can't be asked. Okay, so lack of know-how, lack of time, lack of motivation. What you're then going to do to build your signature program is opposite each one of those barriers, you are going to write your novel solution. Okay, how do you propose, or how are you going to help your prospect get over each one of those barriers? And then you can break down your signature program even further by then explaining the benefits of the features related to each one of those solutions. So this would be where you list things like your personalized training program or your nutrition plan or access to your app. But what you want to try and do is make them sound like things. Make these things sound like the coolest Christmas list ever. Identify the things that your prospects will get excited with. Okay. These things as well, your barriers and your solutions, and this is how we build even more trust, should be written in a way that your prospects would say it. So we don't want to go too overboard here and make things sound too snazzy or jazzy. You want to try and use the language that your target market will use. Okay? Because then we're articulating our barriers, our problems, our solutions better than what our proposed client can. Okay, that builds massive trust and it makes sales so much easier. Okay. So I know this isn't directly related to sales, but if you can do this is kind of your precursor to sales. If you can do this beforehand, it'll take you a long way and it makes sales much, much easier. Okay. So first, we need to understand your market emotion, your outcome offer, okay, selling the destination, not the journey. You need to understand your signature program and how you unpack that program, okay, how you can actually translate it for your client or your prospect, okay, and your delivery. So how are you going to deliver those things, okay, in the best possible way so that your prospect understands its value, okay? That's the point of changing the delivery, okay? So I'm going to list a couple here. We are going to delve into 3 of them. So we have landing pages, we have webinars, we have Sell by Chat, Google Documents, phone calls, and Zoom calls. The vast majority of you, if you're high ticket coaches, or if you are high ticket coaches, you're probably selling over Zoom call. But I don't know that many high ticket coaches that use a document like what we're going to suggest. Most of you just have a list of questions that you'll ask over that Zoom call, which is fine. That can get you so far, but there is a way to do it slightly better. You have phone calls. Okay, we've got quite a few coaches within our program that sell over the phone, and we're going to give you a framework for how you can actually do that. This saves you a little bit of time over the Zoom call, and because you can kind of do it anywhere. It's not like you have to take your laptop and your nice mic and your camera and everything like that around with you, or your iPad with you. You can literally just pick up the phone. This does take a little bit of skill there. And what I found from the coaches who do well at this, they do have the gift of the gab. Okay, and they're good at talking over the phone. Google Documents. Okay. Not many high ticket coaches use this because it takes quite a lot of copywriting skill and confidence and know how to be able to actually deliver this. But if you have those things, it is incredible because it saves you so much time. Okay. You can deliver, in some cases, a better pitch than what you would over the phone or over Zoom. And you can deliver it to many, many more people in much less time. So if you have leads coming through the door, so this goes back to that third kind of avatar that I identified at the start. If you've got a lot of leads, but not a lot of time, the Google document is perfect. Okay. Then have Sell by Chat, webinars, and landing pages. We're not going to go over landing pages and webinars today, just because it's beyond the scope of this video, but we are going to jump into Sell by Chat, Google Docs, phone call, and Zoom call. So we've got this little graph here. And as you can see, as we kind of go through, what I've done here as well is I've bundled Sell by Chat and the Google document together because they work best when they are kind of as like one strategy. I'm going to explain that in a moment. So we have our methods of delivery at the bottom, and then you can see time input on our side. So the amount of time we have to put into each prospect goes up with each method. So a landing page takes no time at all because we don't even know it's happening. Someone's just visiting our page. Okay. A webinar takes a little bit more time, but you can deliver a webinar to multiple people and pitch at the end. Okay. Sell by Chat, Google document takes a bit more time because you're having a conversation with someone over text or over your DMs. Phone call, a bit more time because you're probably putting anywhere between 15 to 45 minutes into each prospect over the phone. And then Zoom call is about the same, to be honest, or it could be slightly more, depending on your kind of strategy for the call. The good thing is, the more time you put into someone, the more trust you're going to build. Okay. So with our landing pages, we have very little trust because your prospect, and this is forsaking things like nurture at this point. Okay. This is just going off the back of, let's say, a cold lead coming into your world. So landing pages, we can try and build trust within a landing page, but it's quite hard to do. Okay. With a webinar pitch, we can build a little bit more trust because we can deliver some value before we actually pitch. Sell by Chat, we can build a lot more trust, and I'm going to show you how we do that. And a phone call and Zoom call even more. Okay, they're more personable. Trust is the number one thing you need to be able to make a sale. And the more trust you have with your prospect, the easier that sale is going to be. Okay, trust that you can deliver what it is that you're saying that you can deliver. Okay, and you can see because we're putting more time into someone, and because we're building more trust, we have a higher conversion rate. Okay. And this might be different depending on the coach, but as a general rule of thumb, and from what I've seen working with our coaches, we have about 80 coaches on board now. The conversion rate is probably the highest for Zoom calls. Goes down a little bit for phone calls. It's down a little bit more for sell by chat by Google document. Okay, down even more by webinar pitch, down even more by landing page. And that's because of lack of trust. The more trust we have, the easier it is to convert a lead or a prospect into a client. Okay, so I want you to kind of remember all these things. Some of you may be thinking, oh, it'd be great if I could just sell my program via landing page. However, yes, it would be great because you don't need to put any time or effort into it. And I'm not saying you can't sell that way. You can sell, but you have to have a lot of leads coming into your world and clicking on your landing page to get 1 or 2 sales. Whereas with a Zoom call, you need far less leads. Okay, you can have one person enter your world, and if you build enough trust with that person and sell to them over a Zoom call, you could make £1,500 over that Zoom call, okay, off one lead. Whereas with something like a landing page, you may need 1,000 people to hit that landing page to make a single sale. Okay, so the more time that we put, it's a time trade-off. If we have the time, it's worthwhile putting it into each one of your prospects and choosing a method which is going to allow you to do that. Okay, but for some of us, like we identified earlier, one of our problems is time. Okay, so if we have a ton of leads and not a hell of a lot of time, sell by chat, Google document, maybe even webinar pitch may be the answer. Okay, if you're relatively new to coaching, or if you're under 5K a month or struggling, I would prioritize mastering selling over Zoom. Okay, if you feel like I'm not going to appear very confident on the Zoom call, I don't like being on camera in front of strangers, a phone call may be a better way. Okay, that's up to you. What I want you to ask yourself is, what is it that you're selling? Who are you selling it to? How experienced are you? How many leads do you have? How much time do you have? And based off these answers, they will direct you to which method you should be using. So let's take the example that I just mentioned. So if you have, say, a large following, you have a lot of leads, but you don't have a hell of a lot of time, sell by chat, Google document may be the way. You don't even have to do this. You can hire a setter who can do this for you. And that's how setters work. So one of the questions that I get asked sometimes by our coaches is, oh, I'm thinking about, hiring a setter, but I don't really understand how it works. How can a stranger who doesn't know me and doesn't have my knowledge have a conversation with someone? And how are they going to sell it? I don't understand how this works. What they're doing is they're not really they are having a conversation, but what you think is that that person is actually coaching someone. They're not. We do not sell by coaching. Okay, we sell by asking questions and listening, and that's the setter's job. So you essentially program your setter to ask a certain type of question, and that leads that person to booking a call with you, or to the point where that setter can then deliver the Google document, and that Google document will move that prospect either into the sale or into a call with you. Okay, so it's a great pre-qualifier as well, if you have a lot of leads and not a lot of time. If you do not have a lot of leads, but you have a lot of time, you're going to head more towards a Zoom call or a phone call. Okay. If, say, you're selling low ticket, these are all this side of things, probably half errors as well, is more your high ticket. So high ticket sales, anything over, say, 500, 750 pounds, okay, for your products, you're going to be looking at high ticket. And these are the kind of the best methods for high ticket sales. If you're selling low ticket, you should not be putting any time into your low ticket. Okay, and this kind of cuts through here just as well, because you can use sell by chat to sell low ticket, but you should not be putting time, effort, or you into selling low ticket. Low ticket should be automatic, and it should be sold via landing pages, webinar pitches, or you can use chatbots and things like that, or setters. Okay, and the great thing with low ticket, we don't really push low ticket that much. We start up with high ticket. That should be your bread and butter. Then we introduce a low ticket program, and we use that low ticket program to pre-qualify people, pre-qualify leads, lower our barrier to entry, and then upsell into our high ticket. Okay. So this is how we choose our method for selling. So we're going to deep dive now into 3 different methods of selling, okay, and those big three that you probably want to know about. I know I promised you at the start that this webinar will probably be about 40 minutes. It's definitely going to be an hour. So apologies, probably got about 10 to 15 minutes left. So we're going to look at Zoom calls, phone calls, sell by chat, and Google Documents. Probably going to be the 3 that you are all interested in. So the first one, how do we sell over the phone? Okay, and we're going to use something called a closer framework, which is a really well-known framework, to be honest. You can find this all over the internet, which is great. What you need to do, though, is master it. And I still use a closer framework. Even if I'm using a Google document or if I'm using a webinar, I'll have on my phone this closer framework, just a list of questions that essentially I need to ask, and it'll be popped down in front of my computer somewhere for every sales call that I do, just so I can come back to that and use that as a reference point for leading my conversations. So the closer framework. First, what you need to do is clarify why they are here. So it's an acronym, essentially. Okay, CLOSER. So clarify why your prospect is here. What's the problem? What are you trying to solve? So you do this by asking questions first. All you do is listen. So you ask the questions, then you listen, and then once you have the answer, you speak it back to your prospect. You show understanding. You show that you have listened. Okay. So it sounds like you're here. Does that sound about right? That's all you need to do. Okay. Questions that sound like, what's the reason for the call? What made you reach out? Okay. Why are we here? What's your goal right now? Why is that important to you? Okay. That's how you want to be starting off your conversation if you're having a conversation with someone and trying to sell your program over the phone. Label them with a problem. So it sounds like you are. Does that sound about right? Okay, so this is, you've just asked these questions, you've listened, you know the answer, okay, then you label them. You show understanding, okay, you articulate where they are. Recap what they said, show understanding, and own it. So it sounds like is your goal, okay? Does that sound about right? Okay, what you can also do with that is this is a great way to spread the gap. So it sounds like you're here, it sounds like you want to get to here. Does that sound about right? Okay, you've just spread the gap. And all you have to do, ask the 2 questions, listen, and then just frame it in that way. And that's spreading the gap, okay, which is the core of all sales. Overview of their past pain. Okay, and some people would call this the pain cycle. Questions that sound like, what have you tried in the past? How did it work out for you? How long did you try it for? How long ago was this? And you probably hear about this when, so people find sales a little bit icky, especially if you're British. It's a bit, ugh, okay? Sales isn't icky. Sales is at the core of everything that we do, essentially, whether you're actually trying to sell something, whether you're trying to convince your kids to do something, okay? It's at the core of everything. If you can ask questions like this, which is essentially going around that pain cycle, you're listing certain emotions, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to deliver our program or our offer, okay, as the removal of that pain point. So we need to bring up the emotion first, okay, and then our offer is the removal of that emotion. This is how you're going to feel once we get rid of this. Okay, the prospect must clarify why they need a solution. Again, this is really important. You need your prospect to tell you one sentence that clarifies why they need help. If your prospect does this on a call, you are going to sell your program. Okay. Sell them the vacation. Okay. This is why you're here. This is what you're trying to get. Now, can I tell you about our program? Okay. Can I tell you about how you're going to do that? So we've just spread the gap. This is why you're here. This is what you're trying to get. This is the problem that you're currently facing. This is where you want to be. Now, can I tell you, essentially, can I pitch to you? Can I tell you about how we're going to solve this? Okay, this is how you deliver your program, your signature offer, as the removal of that pain point or the bridge that we created at the start from where they are at the moment and where they want to be. Okay, explain away concerns. A lot of coaches, even if they do these first few things, they forget about this. Okay, and I don't know if you heard me talking at the start. So I will do this on a sales call right before I get to my final page, which is where I have my pricing. Okay, I'll explain away concerns. I actually bring up the concerns myself. I don't try and shy away from it. I bring it up. Okay, we have like a checklist system that I'll go through with our prospects. Okay, we use it as a pre-qualifier just to make sure that our prospects are the right fit for the program, but it's also used to bring up concerns or objections that the prospect may have, and then I explain them away. Okay. So an example of that could be, I can't afford it. Okay. Or, oh, it's a bit expensive. So what does the problem cost you? Okay. What's the problem? What's the cost of not fixing this? If you're in exactly the same position next year as what you are now, how much is that going to cost you? Okay. What will it cost you if nothing changes? Okay. Or where else would you spend the money? So rather than spending £250 on a coaching program with me, over the next 4 weeks, are you going to spend 50 quid every weekend on a takeaway? Are you going to spend 100 quid every weekend on a night out? Maybe it's more than that. Okay. What if we remove that and you put it into something constructive? Reinforce their decision. Back it up. So once you've made the sale, sales doesn't stop. Okay. This is where we deliver. Okay. This is where referrals comes from. Okay, this is where repeat buying comes from. This is where MRR comes from. It's a monthly recurring revenue. So reinforce their decision. It's not all about sales. Okay, it's about delivery. So that was selling over phone. Okay, the closer framework. Okay, so what do we do over Zoom call? You can use that closer framework over Zoom call if you wish. Okay, but essentially you're just having a video call with someone rather than a phone call. If I'm on a Zoom call with someone, I like to use a document, okay? Because then it brings it away from that kind of script that I'm trying to remember, and it makes the conversation a lot more natural. So for this, we use something called a strategy document, and all of our coaches get this, and it's how we teach our coaches to sell. One, because it's much easier to sell. Two, it's more engaging when they're actually on the call with their prospects because you're not just looking at each other. Also, it kind of removes that anxiety on your side or on the coach's side because you're not just staring at yourself or staring at your prospect. You're working through a workbook together. And what we've done is we've put that closer framework into we've built a workbook around the closer framework, essentially. So as a coach, all you have to do is go through the workbook, have a nice conversation with your prospect, and the workbook does the work. And by the end of that workbook, you'll come to your offer and your pricing, and we have a really high conversion rate. So once you get to that point, it's over 75% of your prospects will say yes to that high ticket offer. Yeah, and it's because of the steps that we've gone through the workbook, and it makes life a hell of a lot easier for you because you don't have to remember those closer steps or a script. It just makes it a hell of a lot more natural as well. You can actually have a nice conversation, get to know your prospects a little bit better, understand, their wants, their beliefs, what they've tried before, why they want this. You can figure out whether you are actually a good fit, because we don't want to be working with people who, essentially tire kickers. So strategy document. Sell by chat, Google document. And this is a bit of a game changer, to be honest. So for coaches who have been in coaching for a little while, they've got leads coming through, they're jumping on sales calls. One of the biggest kind of key progress markers for a lot of those coaches or things that they want to do is remove sales calls, because not a lot of coaches actually like doing sales calls. Okay, they want to coach. Okay, they want to work with their prospects. They don't want to be jumping on sales calls where they don't know if the prospect is going to join their program or not. Okay. So a way that we can remove that is with our sell by chat framework and our Google document. And you can use the sell by chat kind of framework with the Google document for two things. One, to actually sell more and remove your Zoom calls. Okay. Or two, to get more people onto Zoom calls. So if you have a low kind of lead flow, you don't have that many leads coming through the door, you have really high sales anxiety because of that, and there's a lot of jeopardy on the line, you probably find that you're having conversations with people and there's a lot of stress trying to move that person from conversation in your DMs to jumping on a phone call with you. And you probably find that you're coaching, which we shouldn't be doing anyway, or you're having a conversation, you're giving away a lot of value and you're just hoping. You're just hoping that that person gets to a certain stage where they're like, oh, I'd like to work with you. Okay. Doesn't really happen. It happens very, very rarely. Using this sell by chat framework and using the Google document to present your offer will fast track that process. Okay. We're asking specific questions. We're spreading the gap. We're using that closer framework, but in a text format. Okay. We do not have to coach. So we can actually hire someone else to do this part. And then we use the Google offer to actually pre-qualify, can't talk today, pre-qualify our prospect and move them from conversation in the DMs to I'd like to book in a call with you, but pretty much being sold to already. Okay, it makes the call a hell of a lot easier. So if you've got low leads and low amounts of calls, you can ramp that up with this framework. Or if you do have a lot of leads and you are having a lot of calls, you can take back time by also using this framework. So this is the sell by chat framework. Okay, I can't give you the exact questions that I give our coaches because they've paid for it, but I can give you kind of the principles behind it. So the first thing we have to do is engage. Okay, we have to prompt. So some people will use things like cold DMs. We do not do that. I hate that. I do not, as a coach myself, I don't want to be spending my time having conversations with strangers, being ghosted. Okay. And it's just, it puts a bit of an ick on your reputation. So we don't want to be doing that. What we do instead are things like hand raisers. Okay. Hand raising post, hand raising signals. Okay. To get people to essentially raise their hands and alert you that, oh, you know, I'm kind of there, I'm kind of interested in what you're doing. And then we can take them on, move them through to the next step, which is qualify. So our qualify step is essentially our sell by chat. And this is between 7 to 9 questions, which is going to essentially spread the gaps, going to identify where your prospect currently is. Okay, we're going to delve into kind of the emotions there, the problems, the kind of barriers, what they've tried in the past, what's failed them. And then we're going to go over where they want to be. And we're going to spread that gap with just a handful of questions. Okay. With those questions, we're also going to get our prospect to admit that they need help. It's very specific, okay, these set of questions. It moves someone from prompt, raising their hand, to that point and wanting to take the next step or us delivering our offer within a short chat. What we don't do is coach, and this is what most coaches do. When they have a conversation with someone, they don't have a framework for how they're going to move through that conversation. So they try and reinvent the wheel every single time. So they ask the person whereabouts they are at the moment. They know that they need to dig into problems a little bit or a little bit of emotion. So they start asking that person, you know, where they currently are, and then they start to coach. And they coach and they hope that that person will like you enough or find enough value in what you're saying to then decide that they want to work with you. That, which you'll probably all agree with me, does not really work that often. Okay. We don't want to be doing that. It takes a hell of a lot of our time. Okay. We're giving away a hell of a lot of knowledge for free. We want to ask specific questions. We want to listen. We want to comment on the answers. And we want a very specific framework for how we take that person from I've raised my hand, I'm kind of interested, to I want to work with you. Okay. So once we get our prospect to admit that they need help, that's when we offer. Okay. And we make the offer. So this can sometimes be a problem. You've just had a conversation with your prospect and you've gotten to the point where they admit that they need help, but then it's a bit like, how do I now propose to this person that they jump on a call with me? Because everybody knows that if you jump on a call with someone, you're probably going to be sold to. And some people are a little bit wary that, if I jump on a call, they're going to use some kind of voodoo sales technique on me, and I'm going to end up buying something that I don't quite want. And most people shy away from calls unless they're pretty much ready to buy. So we can remove that jeopardy with our Google Doc. And this is a really nice way to move someone from admitting that they need help to showing your services and removing the jeopardy by just saying, so we've just got that person to admit that they need help. Then you can say, well, hey, I've actually got this program. I think you're the perfect fit for this. Don't worry, you don't need to jump on a call or anything like that unless you'd like to sort through it in more detail. But I do have all of the program details wrapped up in a Google document. Would you like the document? Okay, we've removed the jeopardy completely. Most people are like, yeah, cool. And then with that Google document, that will move that person into either a call or the sale if you want to go towards the sale. And it's up to you how you direct that document. Okay. The document does have to be very well written. Okay. And it's all copywriting. Then all that's left to do after that Google document is to convert. Okay. And we're either going to convert by, would you like more details? Let's jump on a call. So all that prospect needs to do after they've read the document is essentially say whether they're in or whether they're out. And you're going to instruct them. Okay, take a look at this document. Just let me know whether you're in. Chase them up after about 15 minutes. Hey, how did you find the document? How did you find the details? Does this sound like the kind of thing that you were looking for? Okay, if it does, you can propose a call, or you can actually have in the document the next step, which would be the sale. So choosing that method, whether one or two, depends on where you are. If you don't have a hell of a lot of leads, then I would just use the document to try and convert someone to a call. Okay, try and get more calls using the document. So by chatting the document. If you have a lot of leads and not a lot of time, then I would actually put the offer within the document. So they can see the price, you break down the price within your copywriting, okay, and then you have your click for essentially the checkout. Okay. You are going to have a lower conversion rate trying to move straight through to the sale. But if you've got a lot of leads, if you can send this offer out to more people, let's say you only had time to do 10 calls per week in the past, okay? And you did have quite a high conversion rate, okay? But you were still only really managed to convert a maximum of 10 people, even if 100% actually joined you. Now I can send out 100 of these documents per week, okay? If my conversion rate's lower, I'm still probably going to make more money. So step 2 is more for if you do have a lot of leads. Okay, and you use your selling PDF. I'm going to give you the framework for how you write your PDF. I can't give you everything, but I can give you the framework. And it's copywriting. If you haven't heard of copywriting before, or if copywriting is quite new, I would recommend a book called How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. If any of you have read copywriting books before, you will know that they are horrible. They are excruciating. They are the most boring thing you could possibly read. But this guy puts it into this like handy little book. It's quick to read. You can read it in like a day. And he does it in kind of layman's terms as well. So How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. You can pick it up for a tenner off Amazon. First thing you need to do is expand upon your hero offer. So that offer that we built at the beginning of this webinar, so that bridge, you're going to expand upon it within 3 to 4 long sentences or very, very short paragraphs, okay? When you're copywriting, it should just pretty much be 2 lines max, okay, per cut before each break, okay? So you're going to expand upon your hero offer. And this is very, very important. Your offer can do or die within this kind of introduction. So expand upon your hero offer. Unpack your signature model. So that triangle model that we built at the beginning, so the triangle with the aspiration in the middle, your barriers, your solutions, and then your features around the outside, you're going to unpack each third of this triangle as you move through the document, okay? This one just I forgot that I put this slide in. So I didn't have to use the hand actions. So you unpack this. So the first part of your document is introducing your hero offer and expanding upon it. Okay, the second part would be expanding upon this third of the triangle. The third part, sorry, of your document would be expanding upon this part, and then you would expand upon this part. Okay. Attaching a little bit of social proof, tell a story, show that you have clients that you've worked with exactly the same problems as your prospect, and show that you've solved those problems. FAQs. So you might get a little bit of pushback. So when you do chase someone up after they've read the document, do you have any questions? Anything that they come back to you with, you can pop into this document. So we can get rid of any kind of objections or questions about the program or pushback before we get to the whether they're in or whether they're out. And you can just keep adding to this. So the more conversations that you have, the more times that you deliver this document, the more questions that you get, you can just pop them into the document and get rid of that. Okay, we want to move quick. We want to move swift. Okay, so FAQs. And then a clear next step. Do you want to move your prospect into a call, or do you want to move them straight into a sale? If you're moving them onto a call, or you could link both of these up. If you want to move someone into a call, then I would break down the pricing, okay, within the document. And usually the best way to do this is to break down into a weekly pricing and then compare it to something else that they would spend on a weekly basis. Okay, and something which is like has a negative bias, which is moving them backwards rather than forwards. Okay. So yeah, if you want to move them straight into the sale, you want to break down the price. But then the next step would either be a link to the checkout, or it would just be, you don't have to spend any money yet, just a comment back, I'm in. Okay, and this could be the same for moving someone into the call. If this program sounds like the thing you were looking for, or if you'd like my help, all you need to do is just message me back, I'm in. It's usually the best way to do that. There's just two things that I want to leave you with, okay? Just kind of afterthoughts. So we've gone through these different kind of methods of selling, which one is right for you, and then we've kind of delved a little bit deeper into each one of those methods. What I want you to remember is that sales is made so much easier in the nurture process. So your client will have been on a huge journey, okay, up until, or it should be a huge journey, up to your sales point, okay? And the better we can make this journey, the easier sales is going to be. The vast majority of you at the moment do not have a nurture process. Okay, a nurture process builds trust. So a lot of you at the moment, some of you might not even have a link in your bio. Okay, when someone comes through, say they've just, I don't know, seen one of your ads, or say they've just come through to your profile after seeing one of your posts or reels or something like that, you should have a low risk, low commitment, quick win. Okay, a clear next step. Okay, that should be the very first thing that that person sees when they come onto your profile. Okay, that then sets off your nurture trail. Okay, and then so they should be receiving long form emails. You should be telling stories. You should be sharing social proof. But then how your prospect applies to work with you, how they book in a call with you. Okay, then that kind of gap between booking the call and actually being on the call. This should all be an automated sequence that you've set that builds trust up to the call. And that makes the call 10 times easier. So if you're using something like a Google form to collect data for your within your applications, swap it for a Typeform. Okay, it's more professional, it's slick, it's a little bit more fun. It gives an insight into how you're going to deliver your program. Lace it with social proof and ask specific questions within that application form. Your application form is not your consultation form. Okay, it's actually a tool for you. We don't actually need that information at this point. Okay, what we will need to do is build more trust and pre-qualify, okay, and grab a little bit of information like email and telephone number so we can follow up. Okay, have that link directly into booking a call with you. Okay, and off the back of that call, they should be sent through to a landing page which removes jeopardy of being on the call, explains away the concerns of the call. Okay, so a personal video of you. Then in the background from that, they should also be receiving emails. Okay, having this in place gets rid of so much pressure on that call. Okay, and this will skyrocket your conversion rate. And build trust. So I've mentioned this a couple of times within the webinar. Trust is that key principle in making a sale. If you do not have trust, okay, if your prospect does not believe that you can get the job done or that you can help them, you're not going to make the sale. The more trust you can build, the easier that sale is going to be. Easiest way to build trust is with social proof, okay, or with reviews, with testimonials. Show that you understand your target market, show you understand their problems, their behaviors, what they've tried before, what's failed them, what do they want, how do they live their life, what are their struggles, okay? Show that you understand those things, show that you understand and that you've proven in the past how to overcome them, okay? Going back to that strategy call at the start, so you all get access to this. This isn't a pitch. This is just a free strategy session. So if you'd like a one-on-one call with me for 30 minutes to discuss anything to do with your coaching business, just scan this code. You'll be taken through to my Calendly booking system where you can book in a call with me. I think this week it'll be a Tuesday or a Thursday, I think, possibly a Sunday. Yeah, you can scan that, jump straight through to it. And that's it for the webinar for today, guys.